everyone, it's Max and Rosie, and it's our birthday. Check out our cute cupcake bandanas. And Mommy's going to show you our birthday cupcakes just for dogs at the end of the video. Hello everyone, I'm Sara Sach, and welcome to Friday Fun Day. Today I'm going to show you how to make these adorable cupcake bandanas that will fit any size dog, and you can use this as bunting as well. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the cupcakes that I made that are super simple, super healthy for your dogs. You could even eat them, except not the bone on top. This is Maximo modeling the yellow one. All right, you can go sit over on your little bed. Come here, Rosie. And here's Rosie modeling the pink cupcake. Max is like, hey, where's my cupcake? It smells like peanut butter in here because they love peanut butter. And that's one of the main ingredients of the cupcakes. But I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. So I know a lot of you had questions about Rosie because she wasn't feeling well last Tuesday. Well, we discovered that Maximo had a little sore on his front right foot. And it had gotten infected. And when I picked him up, he cried a little bit. And any time that something happens to Maximo, Rosie gets sick because she is super sensitive, and so she worries about her brother. Or, well, Rosie's younger, but she thinks she's the mama, and so she was worried about her brother. I know, they're wanting their cupcakes. They're going to have to wait a minute. Now, if you want to make some of these adorable bandanas that can also be used as bunting, you can find the crochet pattern with pictures on my blog, and I'll also have where you can find the recipe for the dog cupcakes that are totally healthy as well. Those will be in a link down underneath this video in that description box. One of the neat things about this bandana is this is not an applique. We're going to stitch it on as we go. Isn't that adorable? So here are the two bandanas that Max and Rosie were wearing. I wanted to show you this particular portion as it is stitched in the front post, back post, and then front post on the top. And so you will have to do a little bit of color changing, but I like doing it this way rather than making an applique and then having to sew that on. The way this is made, that it will fit a dog's neck from a 6-inch neck up through about a 12-inch, because it is done with ties that can be adjusted. And if you want to make this for a bigger dog, after you've completed this row where the cupcakes are, we continue to do rows increasing on the end of each row, and you can do that continuing to increase and make the bandana bigger. Now, if you want to use this as buntings, I think it would be adorable to decorate a birthday party. Be super easy to do. Instead of making ties, you would just go across and put your buntings together so you could hang them up. And again, you could make these in whatever colors that you want to match the birthday party. All right, so I used this yarn that we've been using for some of the birthday. It's called Fruit Salad. I love this yarn. It looks to me like sprinkled frosting. And I used it on the main portion here and on the top of my cupcake here and on my edge. Then I also used some yellow, some pink, and some teal. I thought they were great colors and went really well with this speckle yarn. They're all medium weight number 4 yarns, and you just need a small amount, probably not even a ½ ounce of yarn of each color. It takes very little yarn to make these. And then the last bit of yarn you need is just a small amount of red to add that French knot cherry on the top of your cupcakes. All right. Now, if you're making it for a smaller dog, you may use less. If you're making it for a bigger dog, you'll definitely use more yarn. All right, so we're going to stitch with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle to weave in your ends and to sew on your cherry. And then you need a pair of scissors. These are super fun and super easy to make. And I also want to mention that the technique that we use to add this on, it can be used on any pattern that you're making. If you're making a scarf or a hat or a cowl, tablecloth, whatever, this particular portion of it is stitched in front post and back post stitches, and it's super easy to incorporate that into rows of double crochet. All right, let's make one. I'm going to be using this pretty teal as my main color. So we're going to start with our slip knot. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to stitch 3 double crochets in that 4th chain from the hook. One, 2, 3. All right, so we stitched 3 double crochets, and this chain 3 counts as our first, so we have 4 double crochets, and we're going to chain 3. So for row 1, we have 4 double crochets, chain 3. Let's do row 2. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to turn our work and stitch a double crochet in that first stitch, and that's going to give us 1 increase. Now we're going to stitch a double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in this last stitch. 1 and 2. It's a little bit snug there. And chain 3. So we increased at the beginning and end of our row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and our chain 3 for row 2. Now for row 3, we've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. Again, we're going to double crochet in that first stitch, and that gives us an increase. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in those stitches across. And then again, we'll stitch 2 double crochets in our last stitch. 1 and 2. And chain 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets for row 3. Now we'll do row 4, which basically is a repeat of row 3. We just have more stitches. So we've chained 3, we turn our work, we double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3, which is that first stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the stitches across until we reach that last double crochet, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. And chain 3. So now for row 4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches. And for row 5, we're just going to repeat again what we just did, only we'll have more stitches. So double crochet in that first stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the stitches across until we reach that last stitch, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. I have stitched those double crochets across and 2 double crochets in the last stitch, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 double crochets. So we increased 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 for the first 5 rows. Now we're going to do row 6, and this is the row we're going to begin doing the bottom of our cupcake. So we've chained 3, we're going to turn and we're going to double crochet again in that first double crochet. And now we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. All right, we're not going to finish that last double crochet. I'm going to bring in my yellow, which is going to be the bottom portion of my cupcake. All right, we're going to leave our color 1 attached, and we're going to stitch a front post double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So we're going to go around the post of the stitch and stitch our double crochet. So there's 1, whoops, 2, and as you can see, it can be a little bit clumsy at first. 3, and here's our 4th one. And we want to bring back in our color 1, so we'll bring that in on that last part of that 4th front post double crochet. All right, now we're going to drop our yellow but leave it attached, and we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in that last stitch. So we're still increasing at the beginning and end of our row, but we added that cupcake paper in the middle. I'm going to chain 3, and then we're going to take a look at it. Now, if it's pulling a little here, you want to come back here and sort of snug that down. All right, we're going to leave that attached. We've left our main color attached as well. Make sure it's not pulling too tightly. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. We have 4 front post double crochets, and then 5 double crochets on the end. All right, let's do row 7. So we're going to turn our work, get all your strings on the back and out of the way. We're going to again stitch in our first double crochet, stitch a double crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. But again, we're not going to finish. We're going to bring our main color to the back. We're going to grab our yellow and bring that in and finish that. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the back posts of where we stitched those front posts. Okay, so we're going to come to the back and go around those posts and stitch our 4 double crochets. There we go. Now we're finished with the yellow, and we'll cut that in just a second. We want to bring back in our main color and finish that double crochet, and then we'll stitch 1 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we stitched 1 double crochet in the next 4, and then 2 double crochets in that last stitch. There we go. Alrighty, pull that out just a little. 1, 2, 3. We chain 3. Now we're going to go ahead and cut our yellow. There we go, because we're done making our cupcake paper. Let me turn this over. And we'll weave these ends in just a minute. But what I like to do is do that little stay knot. I just put them together so they're together and don't come unraveled. And then we'll come back in with our needle and weave those in. Now we'll turn this over, and you can see we have 4 back posts that were stitched in the 4 front posts to make our cupcake bottom or paper or whatever you want to call that. I pulled that one a little too hard. There we go. And see how it kind of sets up almost a 3D effect because we did those in the front post and then the back post. All right, that's the way that row 7 should look. Now on row 8, we're going to be adding the top or the frosting of our cupcake. And it's a little bit more tricky. And so I'm going to take my time and really show you how we did that. I'm going to be using this pink. I think it's pretty and it will look nice. All right, so we're again going to stitch in that first stitch a double crochet. And then we'll stitch in each of these stitches till we reach the cupcake. All right, so we stitched 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets there. All right, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to bring in that pink. So I took that last part of my double crochet out, and we're going to bring this in. So now we're going to stitch a triple front post. So we're going to put 2 wraps on our hook, and we're not going to stitch in this yellow one. We're going to come back over here to this double crochet and stitch our triple front post stitch. We're not going to finish that. We're going to leave that on our hook. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do what's called stitching 6 triples together. All right. And we're going to do this over these 6 stitches. So there's our first one. So I wrap twice. I'm going to go around the first yellow front post there. And we're going to leave the last one on our hook. This might seem a little bunchy or cumbersome, but this is how we get that look of the top of our cupcake. All right, so now I have 5 unworked triples. We're going to do one more, and we're going to go around this first teal one. So now I have 6 unworked triples plus this first loop on my hook. All right, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to go through all of those loops. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn. And I always cut it out a ways just to give me a little bit of room to work here. All right, so we're going to put that pink back there. We're going to grab our color 1 and bring that in and snug everything down. Where's that string? There we go. All right, now the tricky part is we're going to come back in and double crochet in the top of this double crochet where we stitched that last portion of that triple. All right, so we're going to go back here and stitch that double crochet, and then we'll double crochet across and stitch 2 double crochets in that last double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll stitch 2 in the last, which will give us 7. And then we'll go ahead and chain 3. All right, now I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and grab these 2 and put that little stay knot in there. And I like doing this because it just snugs everything down. And you can see how pretty that looks. And by extending those triples, starting one ahead and one after, you get a really nice look of frosting on top of your cupcake. So we've chained 3. We're going to turn our work, and that gives you an opportunity to see what it looks like on the back side. Now we do need to weave all of these strands of yarn in. All right, so again, we're going to increase by 1 at the beginning. We're going to double crochet in each of these stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 6 double crochets plus the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to stitch in the top of our cupcake. And so we're going to go right in the top of that cupcake. So yarn over, go in, and place that double crochet. Then we'll double crochet in the next stitches and stitch 2 double crochets on the end. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and 8 is 16, plus the 1 is 17 stitches. Now I'm just going to place a chain 1 here and turn it over. All right, so this is how it will look until, of course, we put the cherry on top and the trim. And then you can ask yourself, if you're making this for a bigger animal or dog, do you want to increase it? And to increase it, you just increase at the beginning and end of each row, stitching rows until it's as wide as you would like it. Maybe you want to make a much bigger bunting. You can do that. And so this is how the bandana or bunting should look after row 9. Now I'm going to cut my yarn and I'm going to bring back in my yellow. I'm going to join in my yellow and I'm going to start with stitching 1 single crochet in each stitch across. And this is done the same even if you have added more rows for a bigger dog or a bigger bunting. All right, so we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across. And then we're going to evenly single crochet down the side to the point and then up to the other side. All right, so I'm almost to the corner here. When we get to the corner, we want to stitch 2 single crochets in that corner. And now we're going to evenly single crochet down the side. Now, when you're single crocheting evenly in the sides of double crochets, it can be a little bit tricky because you don't want to have any holes. And so what I do is I try to stitch those single crochets in the sides of those stitches. If I put it here, I'm going to have a big hole. So I'll go in the side of that stitch and stitch my single crochets. And there is not a set amount of stitches that you need. It just needs to look pretty and even. And so you're just going to have to look at it and watch so that you get a nice even row of single crochets down to the point. I've single crocheted evenly down the side and I'm to the point. So we're going to single crochet. I've already chained 1 and then single crochet in that point. And that's just going to help it move around there a little bit smoother. And then we'll just evenly single crochet up the side of our bandana or bunting, whatever you're going to use it for. And the reality is this would be fun to use on, say, a baby's first birthday so that they could get cake all over it and it wouldn't matter, and you could just make it with some yarns that are pretty, but it doesn't matter if it gets messed up. All right, so I'm just going to continue to single crochet evenly up the next side. I have single crocheted evenly all the way around. I'm to the last side here. I want to make sure I have 2 single crochets in that corner and then join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. All righty, now we're going to work on the last row and then put the little riffles here and then the ties, all with this yarn. I'm bringing in this one because I want to add in some of this sprinkles yarn on this bandana. All right, so we're going to start again going across, and we're going to just stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets across. One single crochet in each, working across the top of our bandana. I have single crocheted evenly across the top. Now we're going to move to the side and make that little ripple edge. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the next single crochet and then single crochet in the next. Chain 3, skip the next and single crochet in the next. 2, 3, skip and single crochet in the next. And we're going to do this all the way down and around the 2 sides of our bandana. And when you get down here to the point, you're just going to move around it. Not adding anything extra. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And just keep moving. All the way back up to the other side. And isn't that pretty how that adds just a little extra lacy or loopy effect? So I have stitched those little chain 3 loops all the way around, and I joined back to my first single crochet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 25. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Now, this is how many I chain for this size. If you made it bigger and you want a longer chain for a bigger dog, just keep in mind you don't want it to be so long that when you tie it, that their teeth or their toenails get caught in it. And this is the distance that I also use when I make a bunting. All right, so we're going to double crochet in the second chain from the hook and then slip stitch in that same stitch. And then we're going to slip stitch in each of the chains, working back up to the bandana. I slip stitched all the way back up the chain, and now what we're going to do is slip stitch across the top, placing 1 slip stitch in each of those single crochets. And we'll do this working all the way across, and then we'll just repeat what we did on this tie on this side. I slip stitched in each of my single crochets, and now I'm going to repeat what I did on this side. We're going to chain 25. We'll place a double crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in that same stitch, and then slip stitched back to our bandana, working down that chain. Slip stitched back up my chain, and then I joined to my bandana. Tie that off. And now the bandana portion is done. I have a lot of weaving in to do, but before we do that, I want to show you how to add the little cherry French knot. All right, so we're just going to add this red strand onto our needle. And what I like to do is come up from the back into the top, and I want to go in that stitch. There we go. And I'm going to go through this one and this one. So I went through both of those, and I'm just making a loop, and that's just going to give me a nice area to make my French knot. I'm going to pull this a little so I don't have a real long string, and then I'll come right back in that spot. We'll do 4 wraps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make sure you do those loose enough so you can get your yarn through it. And then we'll go right in and just gently pull that. Sometimes I'll hold those loops like that and gently pull it through. Now you have a cherry on top of your cupcake. All right, now this one I am going to tie a knot because I don't want that French knot to come undone. All right, now my cupcake has a cherry on top, and I need to take a few minutes and weave in all these ends and tidy it up. So here are the 3 bandanas that I made. Now remember, if you want to make them for a bigger dog, just continue to increase at the beginning and end and add more rows until it's the width and the length that you would like. If you're going to use it as a bunting, leave off this portion where we added the ties and do everything else the same, and then you can put them together on a long chain and hang them up for a birthday bunting. I love patterns like this that you can use for several different things. Wasn't that a lot of fun? Now be sure and watch after this portion to see if Max and Rosie like their birthday cupcakes. I'll see you next week for Friday Fun Day. So this is the cupcakes that I made. The ingredients is pumpkin puree and peanut butter, and I used an all-natural, no sugar additive peanut butter, oats, an egg, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And she adds whipping cream, but I didn't do that. I don't think that's necessary. You make the cupcakes, and I used the small cupcake pan, not the regular size, because I have small dogs. And then I made mashed potatoes for the frosting. I added a little bit of oregano in there. Oregano is good to add to your dog's diet because it will help if they get in contact with any kind of parasite. All right, so pumpkin is good for dogs. Peanut butter is good. Eggs are good, and oats are good. So I made them all. You put it all together and you bake it for about 20 minutes. But these were smaller, so I only did about 12. Then you make the mashed potatoes and you stick it on top. And then I added these teeny tiny dog bones. All right, let's see if Max and Rosie like their cupcakes. Here you go, Max and Rosie. I think they like them. Rosie took hers off. Happy birthday, Max and Rosie. They love their cupcakes.